Welcome, beauties. Dawn Hart,
Hi,
Tracy
ladies.
Fisher here from Helia Wellness. And today, what we thought we would do is talk about food environment. And the reason why we talk about this, or the reason why we want to talk about this today, is we just came back from a walk.
Mhm.
On our walk, we stopped for coffee, of course, because yeah, that's just what we do. But we spied this monstrous cookie.
That takes up my face.
Yeah. So I don't know whether you can like fully see the size of this bad boy, but also has ginger icing inside. So this spurred the conversation of food environment and why we as a society have or are challenged with overconsumption.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we want you to know it's not your fault.
Mhm.
Overconsumption is not your fault. It's largely at the fault of food industry, food producers, people that make things like this.
Mhm.
Because, and don't get me wrong, I'm not getting down on cookies in general. Okay. What is particularly hard to digest, no pun intended, about this cookie is we weighed it
We do.
on my food scale. It is 1.5 pounds.
Mhm. So Tracy, talk to our followers about what the average human consumes
Yeah.
in poundage of food per day.
Yeah, so the average human between 3 and 4 pounds. So this is half the amount of food by weight that someone would consume in a day.
And we suspect, so layer to that, we suspect, so no grounds for this, but we've been in the game a while.
Yeah.
It's pretty good with caloric allotment and counting and whatnot.
Yeah.
I suspect that's upwards of 1,500 calories per day.
Yeah.
So not only does that check the box of being half the human consumption of food per weight, but for most gals in our age and stage of hormonal health, that would essentially tick off the box of what your daily caloric consumption would consist of.
I've had my resting metabolic rate tested and it's about 1,550 calories.
Yeah.
And this is around, we think, 50.
So that's breakfast, lunch, dinner, and a snack, my friend.
Yeah. And the problem with that from a quality perspective, food quality perspective, what this is actually putting in your body in terms of nutrition is nothing. Nothing.
Yeah.
We're not getting vitamins, minerals. The only macronutrients, obviously there's no protein in it. There's a ton of processed carbohydrate in the form of sugar and a ton of fat. That's what's in this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And again, we're not getting down on cookies.
No.
We all love a good cookie.
Yeah, totally.
But this cookie is, a rather large. Not only does it consume your daily caloric allotment, but let's get clear on how it impacts our brain function.
Yeah.
So a lot of us, as you go for it, and we can't just have one bite and call it a day, large in part because you're getting a hit, right?
Yeah.
Usually in the form of dopamine, and that lights up our reward centers in the brain and our pleasure-seeking centers in the brain. And we're almost sunk before we exercise that elusive willpower, which we'll get into in further or future videos.
Yeah.
But you can't just have one bite and call it a day,
and
because sugar's so addictive.
Totally. And I think yet people, I would say no one would go buy this thinking I'm going to down this in one shot.
Mhm.
They're thinking, well, hopefully they're thinking this is like a week, or I'm sharing this cookie meal with 5 other people, or whatever the thought is. But the reality of it is you get a hit of it and you're nibbling away at this thing all day long.
Yeah, and all I have to say to that is get to know you're human, because that bad boy's calling your name on the ride home, right? And just saying, okay, just one more, just one more.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So again, to Tracy's point, it has nothing to do with your lack of willpower, and it has everything to do with how the chemicals, the ingredients in that product impact your brain chemicals and link to that desire to continually feed or mindlessly munch.
And I think when we look at the obesity rates that are rising now, we see them, they're kind of at epidemic levels. The reason why we're seeing so much of that right now is this cookie would never have existed in our grandparents' generation. There is no way this would have, something this size would have existed, but
it's super
it's here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah.
Everything's supersized.
Yeah.
Right? And the reality of it and what we want to hit home is food producers make food like this specifically so we will overconsume, because when we consume faster and more, we buy again,
That's right.
right?
Everything to do with the business model of eating.
Totally.
Yes. for
So
sure.
so we just thought we'd have some fun with it. I mean, I'm sure this is amazing. And that's the problem, right? When we consume highly palatable food, it drives us to consume more highly palatable food,
Yeah.
right? So I'm sure, you walk into the coffee shop, your intention was not that this cookie was going to be your calories for the day. But at the end of the day, for a lot of people, that's what'll end up happening through no
Yeah.
fault of their own because of our brain chemicals and our wiring, right? So
Yeah. So the good news is it's not your fault.
Yeah.
We just, want to be tongue in cheek and have some fun with really illustrating what our food environment looks like and relieve you of the guilt and shame we often internalize when we make food choices that are not in alignment with our health goals.
Yeah.
And just something for you to think about.
thoughts,
Yeah.
just thoughts for the day.
Yeah.
We'll talk in future videos about how you can help yourself in terms of your own food environment, how you can set up your fridge and pantry. We've talked about that a bit in the past, but those are helpful things that we can do for ourselves. So we're not constantly requiring ourselves to say no, 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 because I could say no to this 5 times, but if it's sitting out on my counter, number 6 or so, I'm going to say yes.
Absolutely.
I'm going to dive into this bad boy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we hope you have a wonderful day, cookies or not. And we look forward to chatting with you again soon. Take care, beauties.
Bye, ladies.